Shall we begin?
All right, we are live once again to the Create Your New Life Real Estate Session, sponsored by these guys behind me, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, in conjunction with Brooks and Davis Real Estate Continuing Education Institute, which now allows those that attend our Create Your New Life to experience or get a CE credit. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Before we get started, we always like to discuss the criterias concerning the getting your CE credits. So we'll do that. Let's jump into guidelines of how we can get those CE credits from the Brooks and Davis Real Estate Continuing Education Institute. So the student must be logged in at the time the session begins. I know we're starting late because again we're still working on getting some software technology issues worked out so we can get the information out to our agent. So we're starting at about 30 minutes after we're going to be starting these sessions, but we will go to 1:30. So we still be fine as far as the CE credit. But the student must be logged in at the time the session begins. Must show instructor identification. So that's been done. I want to make sure that we do it prior to being on YouTube. I must be able to see the student's face the entire time, and the student must stay online the entire time. Okay. So again, thank you for joining. It's something that we do once a week on Fridays. We've moved it now to Fridays at 12 o'clock. Now, whether you're looking at it live, whether you're looking at it on our YouTube page, we just want to say thank you for chiming in with us. We're always looking to promote and push what we're doing here at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. We are looking to grow our company, right? We're trying to get to 100 agents by the end of the year. So if you're considering changing your real estate firm, if you're considering sitting down and talking to somebody that can maybe speak towards your development and moving you in a different direction, give this number a call. Let's get you into the office. Let's sit down with you and let's talk about how we can work together for you to accomplish your goals in this business. At the end of the day, real estate schools, they teach you and they prepare you to pass the test. You need an advocate once you get your license to help you be successful, ultimately build a business so you can make money by doing real estate. And that's what we're here to do and here to help with. So again, call this number behind us. Let's set up an appointment and let's get face to face. At any time, you can stop. We can chat. I have the group chat showing. You can unmute yourself and speak. I'm gonna let me go ahead and turn my speaker up so I don't have the same issues I've been having in the past as far as being able to hear people when they're talking. So I got it up. But at any point, you can stop me so we can engage. We can ask questions. I think that's where the magic happens when we do our dialogues and we go back and forth. All right, so let's jump into it. The title for today's session is Urgency, Offers, and Negotiating. So we're still in our skill set number 5. We're going to kind of go through our real to success funnel. And with this skill set, it's all about getting the client under contract. So, we've gone through some previous areas concerning that. And today we're going to talk about the urgency of getting your offer submitted, again, pushing it forward so we can get them under contract and get the client to the closing table as soon as possible, right? So that's our goal. The Now the quote that I submitted along with the description today is the difference. It says the difference between ordinary. So the whole quote is a quote from Jimmy Johnson, who's a championship college football coach, NFL Super Bowl coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to the Texans beating the Cowboys in preseason on yesterday. Just a little side note. Anyway, this is the quote from Jimmy Johnson. He says, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just that little extra. I say it again. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary or extraordinary is just that little extra. It's amazing how such small things or steps can put you in a position to where you can become extraordinary in the things that you're doing. So when you consider that, you want to make sure that you are operating at maximum capacity, that you're putting the in place so you can achieve the things that you're looking to achieve, right? So that's the quote from Coach Johnson. All right, so now now that we've had that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into kind of what our production was over this week to give us a little bit of motivation to keep pressing this thing forward. So right now we're at about $4.1 million worth of production as of today. It's a little lower than where I feel comfortable being, right? You know, I like being in between that 4 and 5 million threshold at any given time. So let's push it, right? I know we're going into the final quarter of the year. We know business slows down once we get to November. Once Thanksgiving gets here, taking you into the new year is going to be slow. So we really want to put a lot of emphasis and effort moving into the last year of being productive. So let's work on, like, this is the skill set. This is skill set number 5, which helps get items on the pending board, which is where you want to lead to, getting items on the pending board. Now, as far as our top 5 producing agents, we want to congratulate some agents for getting production in over the week. Sydney Ely was able to bring in some production. Almost got her to the, no, actually she did, it did get her to the top 5. That's a typo. So let me just go ahead and change it. But originally, Ricardo Davis had made the top 5 because, congratulations to him, he brought in some new production as well. So we want to congratulate Ricardo Davis and we want to congratulate Sydney Ely. But based on the production that Sydney, even though they both brought in production, her new production got her to be on the top 5. So it's still, our top 5 is still being heavily dominated by our ladies. So congratulations, though. So congratulations to Laquana for maintaining her position. Brenda coming in at number 2nd. Charles holding it down for the fellas. So let's keep it up. And then Sydney was able to make it to the top 5 today through the new production that she was able to bring in. So where my fellas at? Where my fellas at? Come on, man. We need y'all to get on this top 5 and represent for us. So, you know, the ladies is dominating. They're taking over from us. So, no, I'm just joking. Congratulations to everybody that has that new production. I also want to congratulate, we had another affiliate transition to agent, Marche Peavy. Congratulations to Marche for passing her exam and getting her license. She's our 4th affiliate to agent transition, and we're so excited for her as she embarks on this new career of real estate. And we work with helping her get to achieve the goals that she's set forth. So congratulations, Marche, 100%, and look forward to knocking it out the park with you as far as this real estate business. All right, so today is the last day as far as our 60-day cycle. So let's see if we pulled it off. Remember, our goal was $5.3 million. That was our goal. Unfortunately, we made it to $2.7 million. And now remember, our 60-day cycle is about a certain amount of new production in a particular time frame. So we want to get $5.3 million worth of new production. That's new contracts on the pending board, buyers and sellers as a company in 60 days. So we hit 2.7 million. And remember, our mantra, since our theme with what we've been talking about lately has to do about building your real estate machine. It's all about following the topics and the concepts that I'm delivering every week to create this machine that can afford you to have sustainability in your business. So 2.7 million is what we achieved in this 60-day cycle. We're going to have one more 60-day cycle before the end of the year. So, and again, our goal is going to be $5.3 million. So now let's look at how that matches up with our previous 60-day cycles. So notice at 2.7 million, it kind of in the middle of the pack, maybe 5th or 6th as far as all the 60-day cycles that we've been doing It'll be coming up on 2 years here. We're coming up on 2 years that we've been doing our 60-day cycles. So that's pretty exciting. But again, 2.7 million is what we hit. As we go into our final 60-day cycle of the year, I'll come up with some kind of mantra that we're going to be focused on to really help drive us to achieving our goal of $5.3 million. So you guys keep up the good work, and let's keep rocking through it. Let's keep rocking through it. All righty. What's next? New listing showcase. New listing showcase. So we have a new listing. This is from one of our agents, Brina Fairbanks, who's number 2 producing agent right now. She has a property on Percheron Trail. It's in Humble, Texas. Percheron Trail. She's only asking $175,000. That's anything under $200,000 should be flying off of the shelf. So I plan on doing a check-in with Brenda today to see if that house is even still available, because it may be gone at that price point. But if it is still available, it seems like a solid deal. Let's take a look at it here. Let's take a look at it here on the MLS, and there we go. All right, so this is it on the MLS. It's the MLS number 74505-718. It's a 4-bedroom, good 4-bedroom, move-in ready. 4-bedroom, 2-bath. See, it looks like the square footage is about 1,800 square foot. It was built in 2013. So, it's an excellent opportunity for a family. 1,800 square feet is a modest size, but I think the biggest selling attribute for the home has to do with affordability. Being under $200,000 puts you in a solid position to be able to ultimately purchase a home, as home prices and interest rates are going up. Home prices and interest rates are going up. So you have to take that into consideration. So ideally, Brina should be marketing this property based on the affordability aspect of being able to get a home move-in ready, 1,800 square foot, a substantial amount of space for under $200,000, coming in at 175. And I mean, it's only 5 years old. The house is only 5 years old, so it should be in real good condition. I mean, it still has all its major warranties when it comes to roof, foundation, and structural, because typically those things go out in 10 years. So, that this house on Percheron and Humble, if you have any clients that are looking to be under 200,000, if they don't have a problem with moving to Humble has, Humble has come up, right? So you have town centers, you have centers of economy and commerce that a person could be able to tap into by being out there. So it's a good location and area to consider, right? So let's go ahead and get together, and if you have buyers that are looking to be in that direction, or if they haven't considered Humble, here's an opportunity for them to come in and purchase at 20406 Percheron Trail in Humble, Texas. That's the MLS, so you can look it up online. All right, you can look it up online. Let's work together and get it done. All right, so guess what? We got some new stuff, right? So we're always looking to bring new stuff to you all at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, because why? We're constantly improving, right? That's one of our values. Always constantly improving and operating in the most efficient manner. So that's how it's always going to be with us. So we got something new. So what do we have new? We got an e-commerce store now. So now we have an e-commerce store that you can actually now purchase product that's Brooks and Davis branded, and it comes in all different colors, different items. So let me tell you what we're doing. So what we're going to do now for the corporate team, as we close on our transactions, we're actually going to offer our clients to be able to purchase something from our e-commerce store, and we say up to $50, right? So anything upwards of $50, they can go on our e-commerce store and they can get something. And it's it's some pretty cool stuff on there for $50. Like they can get sweatshirts. They can get tab. Let's go to it real quick. There we go. So here I can kind of scroll through it. All right. So yeah, so this is it. Like, you know, they got shirts and things like that. You can change the color. So boom, look at that. Like you can get bags. I was look at that. I thought that was pretty cool. That sweatshirt material cinch bag. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought this sweatshirt was nice. They even have them for women's sizes. You have cell phone cases. They even have baby onesie, man. You get your kid and branding with Brooks and Davis. That's what I'm talking about. Get them started early, right? Put your baby in a Brooks and Davis onesie. They have cups, right? Cinch bags again. I'm looking at this water bottle right here because I need a new water bottle. So I'm gonna probably hook myself up with this Brooks and Davis water bottle. Coffee cups. So you know there's some pretty nice things that people can buy. Again, it's all, but look at that. Like this little sweatshirt, this little charcoal sweatshirt, that looks pretty solid. And this little t-shirt. I like this little long sleeve t-shirt with the updated logo. So we got some pretty nice stuff up on this with this good e-commerce site. And like I said, $50, that would allow a person to be able to buy whatever they want, at least one, because even the hoodie goes up to $41.49. So that's what we're gonna be doing as far as our closing gifts. Now, what we'll say to you is look, if you want to offer the same thing, so what we're going to do is create like a coupon, and anytime somebody closes, we're probably going to text them the coupon with the website. They go on there and they tell us which item that they're interested in. They tell us where to mail it, the mailing address to send it to. We're going to order it and we're going to send it to them, upwards of $50, right? If you want to do the same, we'll give you a 30% discount. Right, so anything that's on the Brooks and Davis website, if you want to purchase it and offer it to your client as a gift, then we'll give you a 30% discount on anything that's on the website. So we'll cut you a break as well for any of your clients. Now, if you're getting it for yourself, you got to pay full price. But if you want to offer it to your clients as closing gifts, then just let us know. Send us the same information. Again, we'll order it, but you'll get a 30% discount on the item itself. So you'll just pay us and then we'll pay it and send it to your client. So we'll offer you the same thing. All right. So 30% discount. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it done. I'm sorry. Yeah, 30%. 30%. All right. So what's next? Boom. So now I talked about this. Oh, but you know what? I didn't show you guys. Let me go back here. I don't think I spent enough time showing you the website, right? So that's the website, right? bit.ly.shop/BDREF, right? So we made it we shortened it, made it easy for you to text out, for you to email out, send to your people. And again, they can pick the item. If you're buying it for your client, then we'll give you 30% off of the purchase. All righty. So let's see what's next. Oh, boom. Prime Real Estate Network. So the best episode ever has finally launched. It was the episode that I was a guest for. It was titled In the Beginning. So this is the podcast that we're sponsoring. You can go to, if you have Apple products, you can go to Apple Podcasts and get the podcast. They do an episode every week. You can go to Stitcher. You can go to Google Play and listen to it if you just want to listen to it over the phone. I mean, the audio. But if you want to see the video like this one, where this guy right here is in it, fast forward a little bit. Get to the cool stuff. Look at that guy.
I really am grateful for that.
Look at that guy. Thanks, look at that guy spitting knowledge.
Remind everyone to subscribe to our podcast page on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. You can find us at Prime Real Estate Network on those podcast platforms. Also, we have a new Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. Please subscribe there as well. Leave us some great reviews and comments. We look forward to interacting with everyone. But Michael, this episode, Michael G. Dave is in the building, man.
So they were happy to have me on the show, right? But he mentioned where you guys can go to get the podcast. Here's actually the YouTube page that has all the episodes. We aired episode number 10 yesterday. So you can go to the YouTube page and you can check out all the previous episodes. And it's really good information. And it speaks to a lot of different topics, a wide range of topics. So that's our podcast. So you guys take advantage of going to the podcast. And then look, reach out to us if you're interested in being on the podcast. Then maybe if you have a topic that'll be exciting to the viewers and the audience, something out there that you're doing, pretty big deal with, reach out to us and we'll see if maybe we can get you on the podcast for one of these weeks. All right, so that's our Brooks and Davis podcast. Now we had some events. Um, let's see, proprietary programming. All right, so always like flashing you guys a little bit about our proprietary. So again, these are the things that are differentiators for Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. This is kind of my mural. Like been building this every time we come up with something new. See how I just added the e-commerce store and I got the prime real estate. We finalized, well, come September, we're going to be finalizing our transition of the Financial Homeownership First program to the nonprofit, filling in the gap. So in conjunction with that, we got some pretty solid things that we're doing, and we even have some more coming down the pipeline. We're always going to be innovating, and we're always going to be turning over, bringing new things, new product, new innovations to you guys. So if anybody ever asks us what sets us apart, I can clearly articulate the things that we do that no other real estate companies are doing. All right, so we had I spoke last weekend at the gathering. It was an excellent event. Had a great time. I talked about the basics of real estate investment. I've got some pictures that we can check out. Got some pictures that we can take a look at. Let's see. All right, where are my pictures at? Boom, there they go. All right, so these were pictures of the event. Like I said, it was a pretty cool event, right? So these are pictures on the it's the Houston Museum of African American Culture. So we had a pretty cool crowd, right? People networking and speaking and talking. That was a coffee company. They was there, and they were bringing in an Italian blend coffee and introducing that to the United States. So it was some good coffee. That was one of the presenters, Quadar Williams. He spoke about financial services and brokerage firms. He just started his own financial brokerage firm, so he spoke as well. Um, and then this is an attorney, and he talked about real estate contracts. Gave great content as well, along with myself. This is Dion Warner. Gave a great talk. He gave me some insights on how we're going to expand Brooks and Davis as we expand into the Katy market, which is what our plan is for the first quarter of next year. And Dion's going to help us make that happen as far as funding and financing. So it was some great work. This is um, the CEO of the Houston Museum of African American Culture. It's on Caroline Street. So if you haven't been there, you're not familiar with it, I definitely encourage you to go to it, see the exhibits that are there and the activities that are taking place. Next to him is Carol Guest. She's a great friend of mine, board member with the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce, and she's a phenomenal woman and person. So them two together helped put this event together. So it was an awesome time that we had at the event on Saturday. Also, we went to the baseball game on 2 days ago, right? And if you missed it, too bad, so sad. Hey, I sent it out in the group meet. If you have your group meet off and you are not getting the notifications, I don't know what else. I can't do nothing about that. I had 9 free tickets to the Astros game, and I put in the group meet. If you want one of these free tickets, let me know. Send me a text by 8, and we'll get you the tickets. Right? I only had a couple of people reach out to me. I don't know. I don't know if it's that y'all wasn't baseball fans or that you didn't miss it. Because I talked to some people and it was like, well, we didn't know. We didn't see it. Look, I can't have you look at your group me. You gotta look at your group me. That's how we disseminate stuff like this, right? It's a lot of content and great and things that are going on in the group me. All right. So, but like whenever we had these little events, I always got to put it in your face a little bit. So we had Jess Milk and Honey Productions do a video for us for the Brooks and Davis outfit. And yes, I did. The game was at 1:10, and yes, I did go take my kids out of school so they go to the game. I'm a bad parent. All right, I did do that. I was just sister. Just sister came and hung out with us. So boom, we had a good time. Had a good time at that good Astros game, and was able to see a ninth inning walk off home run for the win. Like woo, we can't beat that. They must have known that we was in the building. They was like, we're gonna show off for Brooks and Davis real estate firm because they in the building. So I know that's what happened. So I'm confident of that. But again, we have things coming up, right? Take advantage of it. Come check things out. Like we have an event coming up September 20th with Home Partners of America. It's an excellent concept, something else that you can offer to your clients, lease purchase opportunities. So we're going to be having that event on the 20th, and then we're going to be doing an event with Wells Fargo in October. So come to the stuff that we have. Like we're going to continually work on identifying and finding things that'll be of interest to you. Okay. Moment in the core. So today we want to talk about our big, hairy, audacious goal. So if you're just new with the company or if you've been with the company for a while, then you know what we're looking to accomplish. We're trying to be the number one real estate company in the state in production and profitability by 2020, right? Now, Mike, what happens by 2020 if you're not the number one real estate company in the state in production and profitability? Well, we're going to push the date back. We still going to keep pushing to try to get it done. So that is our goal, to be the number one company in the state. Now, to do that, we first got to get out of Houston. And as of 2017, now I need to get updated numbers, right? But per the last data set of numbers that I had, Martha Turner Sotheby's International was the number one company in production in our Metroplex at $426 million. In 2016, the number one brokerage in the state was Keller Williams Arlington, right? And they had $8.79 billion worth of production. So, and they did 33,000 transactions, 14 offices. So we know what's in store for us to accomplish the goal that we're looking to accomplish. But again, it's our goal. It is something that we're striving to do to get done, to be the number one real estate company in the state. And we know what kind of numbers that we're going to have to push to accomplish that. All right. Okay. So with that being said, now let's go ahead and jump into the good stuff, the things that can help you grow your real estate company and your business, help build your business. As we've been discussing, skill set number 5, right? Now remember, skill set number 5 is get your client under contract as soon as possible, right? Get your client under contract as soon as possible. The idea around skill set number 5 is about quickly, ultimately not getting lost or caught up in the dead space of dragging your client along. I give you an example. You get a listing, you put it on the market. Every day you should be working towards getting it under contract every day. So don't go weeks at a time of not doing anything with your listing. Every day you should touch it. You should consider something new, some way to push it or promote it, or call somebody here, somebody to send a text to this person or this group here, or email it to this person or this group here. Every day you should be considering and thinking through how to get a contract on the property every day. And the same thing with your buyer clients. Every day you should be working towards getting them inside of a property that they would want to buy based on their criteria. Every day you should be working towards that. You shouldn't go weeks at a time not engaging with your client, not looking for new properties or homes that fit within their criteria or their need based on what the market has access to at the time. You should be every day working towards achieving that, right? So that's what skill set number 5 is all about. It's about putting you in a position to where you are constantly moving the transaction forward. Skill set number 5. All right, so now we again show you the real estate success funnel as a whole. We've gone through the other skill sets 1 through 4, and we're finishing up 5 today, right? So that means we only have a couple of more of these that I've gone into detail. But listen, the create your new life moving forward will always have an undertone of the realtor success funnel, because now at this point, everything that we coach and teach about development is grounded in this business concept. This is why I created it. It's because I needed something that I could consistently go to that gave me the totality of the business model that I need, that I could coach and help people build their businesses around, right? So it's always going to be grounded in the realtor success funnel. So with skill set number 5, the target is to get whatever client that you have, get that client under contract. Whether it's a buyer client or a seller client, it's about moving and getting that client to where it's an accepted contract in escrow, right? Therefore, this is the part that will allow you to be more successful in getting people onto the pending board that we have in our office. That's why we measure that on a weekly basis, why we measure pending board production on a weekly basis, because see where that is in the funnel. The pending board production is at the bottom of the funnel. It's the step right before the check is made. So I can't push contract to close because that requires a contract. But what I can push is that if you have a client and then you're just sitting on it and you're not doing much with it, I can push you working and doing the things that we talked about in this skill set to get that client under contract. This is one of the major areas that we see agents wasting time and wasting energy and effort. So that's why the pending board and us pushing it every week and us looking at the top 5 producing agents, looking at it from that perspective, is because that is the area of the realtor success funnel that is most imperative or important in getting a person or getting you to the closing table, right? So that's why skill set number 5 is a very important area, and it's more than just activity. It's about skill. And you'll see that today as we talk about urgency, office, and negotiating. These are skill sets that if you're going to spend the time in activity, it's about educating and improving yourself when it comes to these areas, because at that point it's not about how much effort you're putting into it. It's about how good at it are you, right? In this skill set right here. Okay, so now the things that we've already shared when it came to the skill set. Remember, there's some previous Create Your New Life sessions that you can go to that's in your 7-dot training. Now, remember, guys, look, we are actively in the process of creating a dashboard that's going to take all of the content. I know we have a whole lot of content in the 7-dot training, and you can get lost. Well, we're in the process, something that we've been working on for almost a year. Well, I'll say 6 months. We've been working on for almost 6 months, and putting that information in such a way to where you can easily go to whatever portion of the transaction that you are specifically on, that you can easily go to that area with the click of a button, and it only give you the content that specifically speaks to that particular area. Guess what? Based on what skill set or what topic that you're working on, whether it's skill set number 1, skill set number 5, skill set number 3, you can click on that button and it take you to only the content that speaks to that particular skill set. We're currently working on that, and our goal is to have it complete before we go into 2019. All right, we're aggressively working on getting that finished. But there are past Create Your New Life sessions that you have access to. We talked about onboarding the new client. Once they become a client, how you onboard them into your system. We also talked about ensuring that you prioritize your activities, because if your activities aren't prioritized and you're not utilizing your time block, then you're going to be spending too much time in this area, and that's where the void and your time can get sucked away from you, because you're not being efficient in how you're utilizing your time. Last week we talked about the forms. So we went through all of the forms, and the forms, using the forms is what helps put you in the best position to get the client moving and continue to move the client in a particular direction to get you to your end result, which is getting the property under contract. So that was what last week's session was about. It was about utilizing the forms on the sell side and on the buy side to ensure that we get the client to that end result. And what's that end result? As I always say before, it's the one right under the top of it. So if client is the area that we're in now, then the end result, the place that we're trying to get to, is the next C, which is contract. There's no other place that we're trying to get to with our clients. The only place that we're trying to get to with our clients is contract, just like with all the rest of them. The only place that you're trying to get to from a lead is making contact. The only place that you're trying to get to from doing contact and your contact follow-up is the consultation. The only place that you're trying to get to from face-to-face consultations with people is turning them into clients. And the only place you're trying to get to from clients is getting them under contract. And once you get them under contract, the only place you're trying to go is to get them closed. So the forms help you facilitate that transition from client to contract. That's what the forms do. And that's why it's very important that you use them. Okay, so today we're talking about urgency of offers and negotiating. Well, again, I always have to continue to bring this up because it's that important. You have to remember your time block. You have to be time blocking these things, because lead generation, lead follow-up, doing that on a consistent basis, going on appointments, doing that on a consistent basis, and then doing it in such a way to where you don't lose control of your calendar is very key, because at that point, you'll be able to handle scale, you'll be able to handle capacity. So the time block is another reason why you have to remember your time block in this portion of the process as well, because if you're going to be spending your time and energy, I've already talked about how it requires a higher grade of skill set when you get down to the lower skill, a higher grade of skill, when you get down to the lower skill sets of number 5 and number 6, you need to have the energy and the time to facilitate that. So if you're not doing well as far as how you're handling the other areas of the funnel, and you're spending too much time, you're spending too much energy operating your business the wrong way, then by the time you get to areas where you do need that time, energy, and effort, you won't have it. You'll be drained. So that's why you have to remember your time block. Okay. The reason that I put the term urgency in there is because, and I've kind of hit it, I've kind of talked about it already, is that don't find yourself sitting on clients. Constantly, every day, you need to be working on moving them to the next phase, which is getting it under contract, right? Okay. So now the theme of all of this has to do with in the day in the life of a realtor. So what does being urgent or having a sense of urgency with your clients look like on a daily basis? Well, now if you have your time block in place, then when you get a client in a particular situation to where they are ready to submit an offer, right? So you've gone through the proper process of what we've coached. You've taken them, you used the form, you've gotten them to make a decision, okay? You've, on the day of the showing, you need to have a contract. I talked about this last week. You need to have your blank contract ready to go. You need to be encouraging your client to give you a checkbook. I mean, a check, bring the checkbook with them so they can leave an earnest money check with you. You can leave that showing and you can go ahead and submit that offer. Well, why do you have to be so urgent in how you do it? Well, because the market is so competitive, especially with buyers. Now, a big mistake that I see a lot of agents make is that before they take a client out to show them a property, they don't confirm with the agent that there are no offers on it. You need, before you take a client to go show them a property, before you take your time and you take that client's time and y'all get in the car and y'all drive to go inside of that property, you need to have done your due diligence by reaching out to the agent, the listing agent, and confirmed that there are no written offers that the seller is considering. Because if there are, you need to know that, and you need to adjust your schedule accordingly, especially if it's one that you really believe your client's gonna like. You have to always keep in your mind how competitive the market is. There's so many conversations that I've had with agents where they say they've done all that. By the time they get home, they put in all the work and they're about to press send on the computer to send the offer to the agent. The agent tells them, or they see the status change on the MLS. That's crazy. That should never happen in your business. You can't get any of that time back. You can't get any of that energy back. Your client can't get that time back. Your client can't get that energy back. That should never happen. You have got to make that phone call and get that confirmation before you exert any energy and time doing things, doing deals when it comes to offers, right? Number one. The second thing is, once you do get the confirmation, you take the client, they like the house, then again, you want to get that offer submitted as soon as possible because you don't know who else is looking at the house. You don't know who else is putting an offer together. You don't know what else is happening. And we're in a market that's competitive. So since you don't know that, you need to be moving quickly because you want to get your offer accepted as soon as possible before there's an opportunity for another agent to submit an offer, or there's an opportunity for another client to submit an offer and then put you in maybe a multiple offer situation. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So once you get the client ready to make a decision and want to submit the offer, you got to hurry up and get that bad boy submitted, preferably within the hour of the client making the choice. You need to get it over to the client, the listing agent. That means you need to have your listing, you need to already have a pre-approval letter accessible. You need to already have the contracts done up and have the initials and the signatures from your client to be able to submit that bad boy immediately. It's got to be urgent. The next thing is offers. You're working with buyers and you're talking to, first of all, during your initial buyer consultation, you need to manage the expectations of the client as when it comes to offers. At a certain price point, they need to understand that it is competitive. You need to constantly reiterate that in your client's mind, the fact that it's highly competitive at certain price points. So what that means is you may not get another opportunity to submit an offer. You may not get another chance. You may not get submit your highest and best. You may not get a counter offer. You may not get that. So the first offer needs to be your no regrets offer. You need to have that conversation with your client in the beginning before the emotions get tapped into it. You need to be prepared. If it's a house that you want to get, you need to be prepared to submit your no regrets offer at the time that we say at the first go round, because we're not going to get another shot, right? You have to be preparing your client to do that. And if you're not, you're again giving them a disservice to them by giving them the thought or the hope that they can negotiate. In most instances, you don't have that chance, right? So it's one thing to say this is the most that I'm willing to pay. It's another thing to say, well, we just want to try them out. We want to test them out. No, give me the most that you're willing to pay, period. Right? So once we get it, it's not about getting a deal. We're not in that market anymore. It's not about getting a deal. It's about getting your offer accepted. That's the deal. You got to be having that conversation with your clients. Okay? And you got to have that at your initial buyer consultation. So now when you get to this point of the client's ready to submit the offer, you have to make that offer competitive. You have to make that offer in such a way that the client has a strong chance of being able to get it accepted, right? That's very important, okay? So when it comes to earnest money, now earnest money is one of those that if you are going to offer less in the ask price, maybe offer a higher amount when it comes to the earnest money, right? To get the seller to see that you're more serious, the listing agent to see that may have your offer be more attractive, and they may be willing to pick yours over a lower cash offer or a lower cash offer or a higher offer that's using financing. They'll be willing to pick yours over that because of the earnest money that you're offering to them, right? So that very well may be a defining factor. So the earnest money is a key thing that you should consider when submitting your offers, okay? Other things like home warranty. I know it's kind of standard practice to ask for a home warranty, but if you're in a kind of competitive situation, it may not be the best thing to do is ask for that $400 or $500 home warranty. Put you in a better position to get the property. If you're willing to pay more than the ask price, if a client really loves it, tell them they don't have to be afraid of paying more for the property, especially if they can afford it. Look, when I bought my house, I paid more than the appraised value for the house. But guess what? The most recent appraisal, I have equity. I have a lot of equity in my house. But at the time, I paid more than what the appraisal amount was. Sometimes the appraisals just have to get caught up to the market, and it takes time. There's a lag, right? So the client shouldn't be afraid of submitting offers that are higher than the ask price to put them in a position to where they can buy the home. They shouldn't be afraid of that. Now, again, you are the professional, so they're relying on your expertise to help guide them through these situations. And that's why it's important that you become skilled in these areas, in this particular skill set. This is where the self-improvement comes in. This is where you need to be reading books. You need to be looking at webinars. You need to be going to workshops. You need to be taking classes to become better in this skill set. The skill set of getting the client under contract and the skill set of getting the contract to close. These are the areas that you have to become better at as you work your way down that success funnel, right? Matter of fact, I'll say it like that. As you work your way down this success funnel, as you work your way down these skill sets, it goes from high activity to high skill. So what that means is, as you work your way down, you need to start. This is where you be reading the books and taking the classes and going to the workshops and getting well versed and skilled as you work your way down. And the further you go down, the more skilled you have to be in those areas. The more time, the more effort, the more knowledge that you're going to have as you work your way down the skill set ladder. It's imperative that you do that, and this is why. Also, with submitting your offers, right? Um, Sometimes you may want to get your client to write a letter, right? You may want, I mean, the ideal way to submit an offer is in person, but again, it's not standard practice. So if you call a listing agent and say, hey, look, I want to submit our offer in person to your client, they're probably not going to be wanting you to do that, right? But that's the ideal way to do it. The ideal way is for you to go in front of the seller and present the offer yourself, because at that point, you can see nonverbal cues. You can kind of give yourself a step ahead of the game as far as anybody else that's not doing it that way. So it really couldn't hurt if you ask the listing agent, hey, can we set it up to where I present the offer myself? And if a listing agent ever allows you to do that, there should be no way that you walk out of that deal without yours getting accepted, because you should have enough skill to be able to get in front of the seller, convince them to take your offer over all others, and put together the right deal for your client. If the listing agent ever agrees to it, you just probably going to find challenges in getting the listing agent to agree to do something like that, because it's just not standard practice in our market. But the point is that you want the seller to see your client as more than black and white, a piece of paper. You want the seller to see your client as a human being, as a person. So, it's not a bad idea to have your client maybe write a story or a letter to the seller about them, because think about it, especially if it's somebody that's selling a house that they've lived in it for years, they have emotional ties to that house. So again, it's about emotions. And if your buyer can evoke an emotion in that seller, at that point, it's not about numbers. It's not about ones and zeros and dollar signs. It's about what that house means to that seller, and that seller knowing and being confident in them handing it over to somebody that's going to care for it and love it and make memories in it just like they did. That is more important to some people. You don't be surprised, right? It's not always about the ones and the zeros and the dollar signs. Believe that, okay? The reason that the ones and the dollar signs become important is because the homes are valuable to the seller for whatever reason. Their memories, the kids, the growing up, like all of those things are valuable to a seller. And because of it, they're trying to place a price tag on all of that. But guess what? Just because it's valuable to the seller, those things are not going to be valuable to a buyer. And that's where the disconnect happens, right? That's why the homes are overpriced, because the sellers aren't realizing they're putting a price tag on something that's only valuable to them. It's not valuable to anybody else that's in the marketplace. It's all emotional, right? Again, you got to know that as an expert, and that's why you got to become skilled and increase your skill set when it comes to that and submitting the offers. Okay. I'm spending a lot when it comes to the buyer, because the buyer's agent has less control over offers getting accepted or not, right? As a listing agent, the offers are coming to you. So at that point, you're in a stronger position as far as working with your seller to go ahead and get them to move forward with a particular contract or a deal. So you're in a better spot. The biggest thing that you may have to run into is getting the sellers to understand that there isn't necessarily this may be the best that we can get, right? At the end of the day, all we do is interpret the market. We don't make the market. Just because you want $250,000 for the house, if the market is only giving us 240 or 245 or 230, if that's what the market is only giving us, that's the direction that we have to go in. We can't go in the direction that you think that you want to pay for it, because if you stay firm on that 250, ultimately you're just buying the house back. That's it. You're buying it back, and that's why you're keeping it, because you're buying it by not accepting the offers that the market is giving us. There is skill set that is required in that, right? That's why you got to get better when it comes to these skill sets, but it's not as challenging as being a buyer's agent because you, as a listing agent, control more of the transaction because the offers are coming to you, right? So that's why I spend more time with, you're working with buyers, getting really skilled on getting your buyers to make a decision and getting their offers accepted. It's a skill in getting them accepted, okay? And all of that is included in skill set number 5. Okay, negotiating. Negotiating is, here's another thing about offers. Now, this is for sellers. And I kind of mentioned this with buyers. With your offers, you got to make them stand out, right? So you want to, with the letter to the landlord or doing it in person, not, doing above list price. You're trying to do something that makes your offer stand out, okay? When it comes to the sellers, as a listing agent, all offers are serious, okay? Don't take offense to lowball offers. All it is a starting place. Don't be like, oh, we're not even going to respond. That's ludicrous to not respond to an offer. You may not ever get another offer again. Every offer you need to respond to. Every offer you need to entertain. Every offer you need to negotiate, no matter what number it comes in at. There is no getting offended by an offer. Don't do that, right? If the seller gets offended, that's one thing. But that's what you're there for. You're there to be reasonable, right? You're there to be not emotionally into the transaction, so you can get to a deal. So don't put your feelings into it and your offenses into it. It's not about you, right? So, again, I see that a lot. Well, that was a lowball offer. We're not even entertaining that offer. No, respond to every single offer. Find out their motivation. Ask them, we're asking this. Why are you coming in at this number? Some of it just may be communication. Some of it may just be reframing. There's some information that they didn't know about. You don't know. But if you never respond, you'll never find out. So that's why it's key that you work every offer. All right, the last thing is become a great negotiator. You got to become. Now listen, I said become because you never arrive. You're always going to be getting better. But you need to have negotiation, especially in this skill set, a priority of development for yourself, right? I've already talked to you about excellent book, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's an excellent book on negotiating. You can get the whole thing on YouTube. You need to not only read that book, but study that book because it is excellent. Right now, Jim Camp, I'm reading Start With No. It's another great negotiating book. You need to get that book. I took a class. It was a certified short sale negotiator, talking about short sales. They have classes that are offered about being a certified negotiator that talks about negotiation that you can pay for and take that class. Anything to do with negotiation, take that class. Take it, read the book, become an expert, become a great negotiator. Because what a lot of us don't realize is that everything is a negotiation. Everything, right? You'll be surprised once you start really becoming a student of negotiating and learning negotiations, you'll be surprised how many times you find yourself in what most people wouldn't consider to be a negotiation, and it be a negotiation. I find myself in conversations with my kids, and I get to realizing I'm literally negotiating with a 5-year-old, like literally, right? Because at the end of the day, a negotiation is all about getting the other party to move in a particular direction that you want them to move in. It's about influence, right? So yeah, I'm literally sitting here negotiating with a 5, 6, 7-year-old. Like it's crazy, but everything is a negotiation, right? And negotiation is all about results. It's about results. You determine what results that you want to have happen, and then the negotiation is you actively working to achieve those desired results. That's it. But I mean, it's simple, but it's hard. And the reason it's hard because of the human element, because we're human beings. And you're dealing with the emotional side and the practical side all together. And depending on who you're talking to at the time, you may just be going around in circles. So you got to become skilled in being able to identify who you're talking to in a person. Are you talking to the emotional them? Are you talking to the practical them? Because that's going to determine how you talk to them. And then if you're not talking to the practical them, you got to get away. You got to figure out how to get the emotional person out of the way so you can talk to the practical person. And guess what? The emotional person, and we all have both of them in us. The emotional one is like the loud sister, right? That's the one that always coming to the house. They boisterous, making a whole bunch of noise, commanding all the attention. And the practical side is the sister that's in the back, quiet, nobody paying attention to. But that's the one you got to talk to in the negotiation because that's the one that's gonna get to the results. The emotional sister gonna kill the deal every time, right? So you got to get her out the way. She got to become skilled in being able to do that. Because what she can do, if you're not skilled in it, she can pull you into the fray, and then your emotional sister come out. And now you get two emotional sisters going back and forth. Not only you talking about fireworks, the atomic bomb dropping. So that's why you have to become skilled when it comes to negotiating in this skill set. I want to take time really emphasizing those areas when it came to skill set number 5 because they're key. They're very key in being successful consistently of getting clients to contract and getting them from clients to contract as soon as possible in a quick manner. It's very key that you understand the sense of urgency in all areas once they become the client to get them to under contract. You got to understand that, right? You got to understand and become skilled in the offer aspect of things, how to submit them, how to put yourself in a position to where you can get it accepted. You want to get it accepted, right? You want to get it accepted on the first go round. That's the best thing for you. That's the best thing for your client is to get the offer accepted. And with the seller, you got to work all offers. Every offer is an opportunity. So you got to work all of them. All right. It's very key. And in the negotiating aspect, you have to become skilled, a great negotiator, period. You're going to be successful and make a lot of money in this business and do a lot of closings in this business. You have to become a great negotiator and you have to identify where that fits in all of this. The negotiation aspect of things really fits in, it really fits after skill set number 5 from client to contract, right? It really fits there. Okay. So so that's pretty much it. I don't have any conflict resolution today. And again, we're continuing to work through so we're not having to start so late because this ideally is supposed to end at 1:00. But we want to be able to offer that hour of CE credit to our agents like Ronnie, who's taking advantage of getting on and we'll be able to offer Ronnie those CE credits. Now, with that being the case, any coaching, any questions, any comments before we close things out? If not, then we are going to.
I have a question.
What you got, Ronnie?
All right. I'm wondering when you're talking about negotiations. I agree with everything that you've said, which is you have to keep your emotions out of it. My main concern is, or my main problem when I'm trying to negotiate is when I've messed up. Right, I've messed up, and now the emotions are coming up. How do I de-escalate the situation? And not only that, how can I tell that I'm moving in the right direction? Like, so I'm trying to correct whatever I did to make them become upset. And how can I normally tell, like, okay, they're starting to now want to negotiate again and not just lash out, that's my biggest problem.
Absolutely. So I think the first thing, Ronnie, is to understand that you can never mess up in a negotiation. Period. Negotiations are all about, it's just decision. That's all it is. Okay. So now you may have made a bad decision and may have said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing that may have sent the negotiation a particular direction that you don't want it to go. the way to fix it is to just make another decision. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just make a better decision, make a different decision, right? Once you realize that's not where I want the negotiation to go. It's very key though, Ronnie, that before you begin negotiating, understand where you're trying to get to. Tim Camp in his book Start With No, he calls it a mission and a purpose. Every negotiation needs to have a mission and a purpose, and you need to be clear on what that mission and that purpose is. So now, once you're clear on what that mission and that purpose for that particular negotiation is, that's how you'll be able to recognize if you are on track or if you're off track with it. And if you're on track, then you keep making the right decisions when it comes to the techniques, when it comes to the tone of voice, when it comes to the words that you're using, when it comes to the type of questions that you're asking, right?
That actually answered it perfectly. So the thing that always ends up happening is, we can't read each other's thoughts. So when I'm trying to make a point, they understand something completely different, right? So then I get caught up on what they're understanding, and we're losing the mission, we're losing the purpose. So now I'll be able to say, well, what was it that you heard? Could you just repeat it back to me so that I can tell you what I was actually trying to say? Because I'm probably 100% sure that that's not what I was trying to say in the slightest. And then I can, but in that way, I'm already bringing it back to where we were.
There's a better way to do that, though, Ronnie.
Uh-huh.
Instead of asking them what they heard you say, there's a technique Chris Voss uses it in his book, Never Split the Difference. He calls it labeling. So what you do is that you tell them what it seems like, right? So for instance, if you say something and they took it the wrong way, you say, you know what, it seems like you've gotten upset by me saying this. What has made you upset? Or it seems like you think that I'm not being considerate, or it seems like you believe that I'm telling you this or saying this. So you label it. So what that does is we talk about moving that loud sister out the way, that emotional sister out the way. Well, the emotional sister doesn't like to think. So when you force the emotional sister to think about their present state, then that right there moves her out of the way, and the practical sister comes into the picture. So it's like, okay, it seems like you're angry. Well, then once they start considering if they're angry or not, then that moves the emotional sister out the way. They were like, well, I am angry, and they start wondering why they're angry, and then it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't be angry, and then it brings them back into the conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
So it's called labeling. But the point is, Ronnie, is that especially when it comes to negotiation, I highly encourage you, that book that Terry Watson, Never Split the Difference, study that book. Become well versed in the techniques that he talked about in that book, as well as Start With No, which is one that he preferred, Start With No by Jim Camp, which is the one I'm reading right now. And between those two books, you're going to have everything that you need to get the results you're looking to get in negotiation, any negotiation.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, with that being said, if we don't have any other questions, we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to start our weekend. You guys have a great Labor Day. And God willing, we will see y'all next week. Let me get my music going. And then we're going to bob our heads up out of this joint.
Shall we begin?
No, we are finishing it for today. Last day in August 31st. Create Your New Life session. We had a great time again, talking about the urgency of offers and negotiating and becoming skilled in skill set number 5. We're going to be picking up skill set number 6 next week, right? Take advantage of all the great things that Brooks and Davis has to offer. Our new shop, right? Our podcast. Go check out the podcast. And when you see these upcoming events coming, you need to come hang out with us. We're having a good time, right? All right. You guys enjoy your weekend. We'll be in touch soon. Have a good one.